You guys have been asking for this, and that is a breakdown on Avalanche and go a little bit deeper on some of the big projects out there. Today, we're going to do that for you. My name is Paul Barrow. Welcome back on the Tech Path. Let's get started. I just want to lead off with the big question, and that is with all these L1s launching and the kind of growth we've seen in transactions. Just look at this chart right now. Daily transaction count, all indexed L1s, absolutely exploding right here on the AVAX ecosystem. And I think a lot of you are asking that question of why have we not seen price action, much like ETH or some other tokens out there on Avalanche? Well, hopefully we can kind of get some of that and break it down for you. Other things that are happening that are very bullish for the AVAX ecosystem is if you look at the amount of layer 1s and layer 2s that are being dominated here. There's the Kakino net. You've got a variety, including even Dexalot down there at number 10. Point being is there is a lot of activity that is happening within the AVAX ecosystem. Looking at Dex Screener, you can kind of see some of the winners also. Let me kind of zoom in on this for you guys so you can kind of see what I'm looking at. Notice that little insignia right there. Well, that's Arena. Arena has really started to accelerate. Of course, that's one of the tokens that has been very, very effective in terms of price action here recently. Total transactions, total value locked has started to explode. The other thing that is starting to play into this is Pharaoh. Now, Pharaoh Exchange, we're going to have Austin on here in a second to talk about this, but they also have started to explode in TVL. So again, all very good news for the AVAX ecosystem. When you look at the DEXs, you look at some of the projects, you look at the meme tokens, you look at everything that's happening on the L1s, but yet the price has not moved. So are we due for something very, very soon? Last up, of course, one of the things I want to showcase right here, and we'll get on Pharaoh, the Pharaoh team today, is Pharaoh's leading the way right here. You can kind of see, and this is going head to head with Trader Joe. Remember Trader Joe rebranded to LFG or LFJ, and I always want to say LFG, but LFJ. And I think this kind of confused a lot of people. It also created a lot of branding mismatches for that. So I'm going to ask the Pharaoh team about that here in a second. But I want to bring in Austin coming in from Pharaoh to kind of break this down. Hey, Austin, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing well, man. How are you, Paul?
Excellent, excellent. So as you can see, a lot of good activity within the AVAX ecosystem. Obviously, Pharaoh has been absolutely killing it in terms of TVL and also just activity in general on the DEX. Why do you think you guys have been able to get so much away from Trader Joe? What do you think has been the mix?
One of the things that we did a little bit differently was founder-led marketing. Me as the founder, I went into the trenches. I went into every single community that I could, and I talked to anybody that would listen about Pharaoh, and I did that for over 6 months. People may not know this if you're outside the Avalanche ecosystem, but it's very hard to incubate a project unless you get community favor. So that was my overall goal at first. And then also the incentive structure of Pharaoh Exchange is a lot different than LFJ's, right? The incentive model behind Pharaoh emissions and then being able to lock up these emission tokens to take off the float supply and then earn 100% of the revenue from the platform, right? 100% of those trading fees that happen on our platform go to token holders. And I think that is a recipe for success.
Yeah, that's the big killer
when
app.
You share everything from your app to your users, it resonates well, and you build an army of people that want to talk about it, right? Like I have people that want to talk about like how much they're earning on this platform. You know, people come up to me all the time or message me and say, thank you. You know, they're paying their mortgage or they're paying. That's impactful, right? Like that gets people engaged into the ecosystem. And I think ultimately with me being so vocal and transparent and in front of everybody was a real big key to success without patting myself on the back too much. But otherwise, the actual incentive model really does well when people are educated and understand what it's doing.
Well, I'm looking here at the trading volume and the market share, and you can kind of see really right now, LFJ versus Pharaoh, guys going head to head here. You can start to see you guys are starting to eat away at market share in a big way right now. So that's pretty impressive.
And if you scroll down to the fees, I think that's the big indicator.
Yeah, that right there.
We value fees on our platform, right? Like we want fees to go to token holders, and that's our goal, right? So we drive volume where fees can be produced, and I think that was a big get out of it.
Yeah, explain to me the Pharaoh model in terms of holder value and what it means. What are the processes of how they can earn? Get into the details of that.
Yeah, so essentially Pharaoh is what we call a meta dex. Essentially, Pharaoh emits on a weekly basis, and then that Pharaoh can be locked into a 4-year contract. And the people that lock get a NFT called V Pharaoh, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they can take that V Pharaoh and they actually dictate where all emissions of Pharaoh go for the following week, right? So if everybody colluded somehow, every holder, and voted 100% for AVAX USDC, all Pharaoh that was going to emit next week would all go to AVAX USDC.
Okay.
Now, it's not a vacuum, and obviously people are going to vote where with their wallets, right? So they're going to vote for the most impactful pairs that produce the most fees, since they get 100% of them. And by doing this, it makes the platform mold to the most profitable, right? Because everybody's voting with their wallets. They're wanting to gain the most amount of money. And so their behavior is aligned with what our platform wants, which is to grow, TVL, to grow fees. And so everybody's kind of incentivized to do that. And that's kind of the model. And as more fees are produced, the value of FAR goes up. And as FAR goes up, right, that's going to pay out LPers more, which then makes LPs go up and then fees go up even more. And so that's what we call the flywheel effect of kind of what you're seeing right now. You know, FAR's had some explosive price action recently. And it never goes one-to-one like that, right? Like it's never arbitraged one-to-one. But in general, that's the overall thesis of why you're seeing such a demand for FAR, such a demand for LPs on FAR, and the cycle starting up.
Well, this is one we've been talking about for a while. When you look at the ecosystem, and of course the opportunity here, I think for holders is a big deal. When you look at the not only can you earn money this way and earn opportunities here, looking at the meme side of it, but also looking at the potential in terms of yield opportunities. Abacus is one, Suzaku, there's several on here, Yield Yak. Which are the top 3 that are out there right now of where earnings in terms of yield can be maybe benefited the most?
In terms of all of Avalanche?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great question. I think, I'll just say quickly that like meme trading is fun and it brings a lot of users. But if we don't have a layer of DeFi behind it with yield, we lose a lot of those users.
Yeah.
And so what I can say is like Avalanche, a little bit different than Solana in that case, is that we do have a very impactful DeFi layer. And so our best earning opportunities, if you're a single side staker, Ben Key has the borrowing and lending taken care of. YieldJack does a really good job at levering those up a little bit where they loop. And so those are auto compounding yields. But if you're looking for other ones, VFAR obviously is a very impactful yield. I think it's like 40 to 60% APR on your vote right now, even at a $600 price tag on FAR if you were locked today. And then Abacus being the liquid version of that, which is a liquid wrapper, which we can discuss if you want to. But I actually think another one that has been in the works for quite some time is really getting highlighted right now is Arena Champions. And that is if you hold and stake a top 500 amount of Arena on arena.trade, or not arena.trade, but arena.social, their platform. You're actually given 2.5% of every bonded token. They distribute it to the top 500 stakers. And so I was actually reading today, if 2 tokens from Arena were to go to 100 million and those airdrops were to be distributed, you would get ROI on your Arena investment.
Very interesting.
So it's a similar flywheel to VFAR in different ways. There's social elements to it, but it's very much the same. So I actually think Arena token obviously is getting a lot of highlights today and this week. But I think it'll continue because of that social element where people understand the Arena token, they understand Arena Champion, and now it's like paying out massive amounts, right? Like all of these bonded tokens are starting to really get distributed to these holders. And it's a great effect. It's a great wealth effect for the chain. But I think it's actually a really good yielding opportunity. It's not normal DeFi, right? Like it's not something you would normally think about because there's no APR on it. But if you look at it, you're getting like for a top 500 staker, you're getting 1K airdrops every other day, and it costs like I think 10 to 15K to be a top 500 staker. I mean, your ROI is coming in fast, until it gets repriced anyway. But I think those are the top 3, really.
Those are good ones too, and I would agree with you. I think Arena could be the breakout sensation right now on Avalanche. It's one that we've been watching for a while. So again, if you guys have not checked it out, if you're watching this show right now, just go check out Arena Social. You'll learn a little bit more about how you can earn within the ecosystem, start getting involved in that. And basically, you plug your X account into it. You'll see what I'm talking about. I want to jump over to the gaming side of things, because if you look at NextPace, this, of course, getting into the Maple story, you guys are the leader right there, right now, in terms of transactions, liquidity, et cetera. Do you feel like Pharaoh is going to be the gaming location as we start to see more expansion?
Our goal is to take in every avenue, right? Like DeFi and blue chips are kind of bread and butter.
Yeah.
But we absolutely are not going to falter on trying to amass game tokens. One of the ones that we're trying to do is really L1 gas tokens. We want to be a
Right.
hub for, which a lot of times is those gaming tokens that you're seeing. We do have another DEX coming into it. I'm sure you've talked about it, which is Black Hole. And they're a similar model to us. And I think their core focus is gaming. So we'll be competing with them a little bit. But as you can see with our market share, I'm not scared of a little competition. I think it's good for the eco. And I think ultimately, even if they're a industry leader in gaming tokens for AVAX, we'll definitely find our place. You see it with, the Maple Story token that actually is getting incentives starting next week. So it should actually deepen liquidity even a little bit more. Like we're fighting in every avenue. I think we just want to be the everybody DEX, right? Like the incumbency of LFJ was so strong for 4 years with no competitors, and now us coming in and actually being a top competitor. It's important for us just to be the everyman's DEX and making sure that we can facilitate anything that the community wants. So if they want gaming tokens and we have BD connections to them, we're going to go for them.
There you go. Well, I think that's the strategy too. If you and Maple Store is a good example to kind of lead it forward. Talk about some of the biggest catalysts right now. You have to think about off the grid, in terms of the AVAX ecosystem. What about GUNZ liquidity on Pharaoh? When would we see that?
I lean a lot on Ava Labs to let me know when they're ready to kind of facilitate some of these liquidity pairs on DeFi. Now, we can bootstrap them and do them ourselves, but they're always going to be more impactful when they're driven from the foundation or from Ava Labs. Not in every case, but in a majority of cases. And I think a lot of these gaming tokens, they go straight to a tier 1 or a tier 2 exchange, and then they come to DeFi after, right? Like they come back. And that's actually what we saw with Maple Story token. And so GUNZ is kind of going through that transition. And I think soon, they're going to want that, because GUNZ token is going to be, I'm assuming, gas token for the L1. And gimme, that's what I want, right? Like I love having that kind of stuff on my platform. And so even if Ava Labs doesn't, let's say they don't find value in doing that, which I wouldn't find a way that they wouldn't see value in that. But if they don't, we would still start building up liquidity because that's one of our ethos, right? The L1 hub.
You got to look at the other new, incumbent right now, and that is FIFA, who partnered with Avalanche here recently. And remember that Crypto.com had all of these FIFA, well, remember, we've talked about this, Socios before, Chili's. There's been a variety of these kinds of tokens that basically initiate all these fans of soccer clubs around the world, and then they launch these tokens, these fan tokens. This could really open up a lot of opportunity if you compare against what's going on over here on fan tokens just on Crypto.com. I mean, essentially, you guys would be able to maybe swipe a lot of this activity, maybe with this FIFA. What do you think is going to happen there for you guys?
Yeah, I was actually at the summit when it released. Like they actually did like a panel on it, and it was fireworks. Because let me just say for a second, I'm an Avalanche maxi, and sorry if it comes out and everything I say. Like I truly believe that they are building for a future blockchain where Web 2 can actually be made on Web 3, right? Like I think that they're building a lot of the tech for it, and so FIFA is just another part of that journey where they're like, listen, if you want real tech and not vaporware, and you're wanting real purpose from RWAs and everything else that's actually coming on chain, Avalanche is it. And I think that's where FIFA stands. It's a huge statement that Avalanche is making. Maybe people in America, and even myself, right? I'm a hillbilly, right? And I didn't know just how deep the FIFA roots went, but it is a massive thing.
Yeah, it's huge.
Like you can't even, American brains cannot truly understand the bounds that FIFA fans are. So I think it's huge for us in the platform. And I think you're going to see a ton of transaction growth because it's already live, it's already active. And a lot of and that platform is actually using it. You're not even seeing like the announcement FIFA is coming to AVAX. FIFA is on AVAX. And I think that was even a more impactful statement. And I think we see a lot of growth from it. Now, in terms of their L1 token, if they have one, what are they going to do with it? I haven't seen anything. But you better bet that it'll be on Pharaoh as soon as I can get my hands on it.
There
And
you
we'll
go.
be pushing it really hard.
When do you feel like we're going to be able to see PHAR trades, trading pairs on TradingView?
Honestly, didn't know it wasn't on there. And now that you've mentioned it to me, I'll be going pretty hard for
Get
it,
to
right?
work.
I'm very
Okay, all
proactive,
right.
and I'll get on it.
Excellent. Well, listen, we are watching this one along with a variety of the projects around the ecosystem when it comes to Avalanche. So good luck to what you guys are doing over there. We appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for having me, Paul. I've been meaning to come on here. I know we missed it last chance, and I'm very happy that I got to come up here and talk about my platform. And I really appreciate you covering AVAX. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks again, Austin, for coming in. And we'll be watching. So as things start to come out, make sure and hook up with our producers. We'll definitely get you back on. All right?
Thank you, sir.
All right, guys, remember, if you're not in the Diamond Circle, that's where you can get additional content from us. Stuff like this, you know, where we really break down some of these projects, dive in a little deeper for you. Get people on here that can kind of explain a lot of the complexities around some of these. So make sure and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. And hit me out there on X, which is just @PaulBaron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.